Okay, I think we can start this. So, good evening to everyone. Kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can hear me. Come on. Kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can hear me. Yes or no. Please give me a confirmation, guys. Can you guys hear me? Kindly give me a confirmation in the chat section, please. If I am audible and if my voice is clearly audible to all of you. Yes or no. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So, welcome to the day three of this boot camp. Okay, I know it's weekend, but still, the show must go on, right? So far we have talked about Python and we have seen a lot about data science. We have seen a lot about Python, right? Today we are going to extend our knowledge. Okay, today we are going to extend our knowledge and we are going to look forward to some of the key concepts in Python. That is very, very important, right? And if you remember, I was telling you that any programming language, okay, if you keep out any kind of programming language or any concept of or any domain, you don't have to learn it entirely. Okay, if you're learning that entirely, it will not going to make any sense. So what you have to do, you have to go to that technology, you have to learn only some portion of that, right? That is required according to your requirement, right? Let's suppose you are working in a web development, so you have to go to Python and you have to only understand about those concepts that is required in web development, right? You don't have to understand about data science and all that, right? That will be just a waste of time if you're doing so, right? So in the same case, today we are going to talk about Python in relation with data science, right? We are going to try to understand data science better in the term of Python. We are going to see what are the different concepts that we should know if we want to go ahead in the field of data science, right? If you remember, as I've already told you, that in data science field, right, the requirement of programming language is very less, right? We don't expect anyone to have a hardcore programming language because data science is the domain where approximately 80 to 90% stuff is your theoretical. Okay, 80 to 90% stuff is your theoretical. Are you guys getting this? Please don't ask for any kind of attendance. Please don't ask. Okay, if it is gone, it is gone. Okay, if yesterday's attendance is gone, it is gone. That's it. Okay, now there is no chance that you can revert back and you can go and apply for yesterday's attendance. Okay, so there is no thing. So kindly please don't ask about attendance, right? This is the worst thing. Okay, if you want to talk about attendance, we're going to talk about that after 8 o'clock. Okay, give me 1 hour. Okay, in this 1 hour we are going to focus on what we are here for. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? Okay, and please don't spam. Please don't spam. Okay, cool. So yeah, without wasting any time, let's start with today's bootcamp. Let me share my screen and kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can see my screen. Kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can see my screen. Yes or no? Can you guys see my screen? Kindly give me a confirmation, please. Can you guys see my screen? Is my screen visible to all of you? Right? And those student who think that the screen is blur, kindly, again and again, I'm telling you, kindly change the resolution. Okay, change the resolution. You must be using YouTube, right? So you all know how exactly you can change the resolution, right? So there is a setting option where you can click on and you can change the resolution from the current to your highest resolution that has been provided to you. Okay, so please make sure about that and don't ask that your screen is blur and all that, right? And for the last time, give me a confirmation if my voice is audible to all of you and if my screen is visible to all of you. Is it? Is it? Yes or no? Come on, fast. Awesome. So let's begin with our today's session, right? So today, we have already covered day one, that is the introduction of DS, that is your data science, right? On day two, we have talked about Python. We have seen what is Python, what is the perfect definition of Python, what are the different stuffs that is related with Python, right? We have talked about Python is a high level programming language. It's an interpreted programming languages. It also supports OOPS concept. It's an open source. It supports cross-platform and so on and so forth, right? And along with that, we have also seen that it is there's a drawback of Python as well. Can anyone tell me? If you have listened yesterday's entire session carefully, can anyone tell me what's the drawback that we have discussed about Python? Anyone? Let's see who will going to talk about that. Let's see this. Come on, fast. What is the drawback that we have discussed yesterday? Anyone? Drawback of Python. Slow, exactly. It is slow. It is slow in nature, right? And why it is slow in nature? Can anyone tell me that as well? Can anyone tell me that as well? Why it is slow? Due to the interpreter, exactly. Okay, due to the interpreter, it is slow, right? But this is a thing that used to happen, long back. But nowadays, it is getting improved a lot. And since we have the cloud technologies, that slowness is absolutely negligible. So we can easily neglect that as well, right? After that, we have talked a lot about Python, and we have seen in what are the sectors you can use Python, right? There are different other sectors, right? You can use it in web development, web scraping, data analysis, AI, ML, DL, desktop application, mobile application, graphic, game, and whatnot, right? Today we are going to talk about some of the concepts of Python. We are going to talk about data today, right? We are going to talk about different type of data today. We are going to talk about variables, okay? And we're going to see how exactly the Python works and what's the nature of Python whenever we describe the variables, okay? Till here, I think it's clear, okay? Let's move on. And before we start, there is one, you can say, a brainstorming question for you guys, that what exactly was the language, what was the name of that language from which Python has developed, or Guido van Rossum has got the inspiration to make Python programming language? Can anyone tell me that name of that programming language? Anyone? What was the name of that programming language? It was ABC. Wonderful, guys. ABC. Now, one more thing that you need to remember, there is two things, and this is the most asked question in the interview, right? You need to understand that Python was inspired by ABC programming language, okay? However, Python has been written in C language, okay? Python has been inspired from ABC programming language, but it was a programming C that has been used to create Python. Okay, don't get yourself confused in this. In interviewer try to tricks you, that tell me in on which language Python works or Python has been written. So many times people say it's ABC, but it is not. ABC is ABC is the programming language from which Python has got an inspiration, but Python is written in C. I hope that is clear. Okay, please keep this in mind always. Okay, perfect. Along with that, Python, in a very general form, we know that we are working with Python. That's it. But do you know that Python has different other version as well? Okay, Python do have different version as well, right? The Python that is most famous, or the version of Python that we use, is known as C Python. Is known as C Python. Okay. Apart from that, there are other version. That is, one is Jython. Jython is the combo of Java and Python. Jython is the combination of Java and Python. Then we have Cython. Cython is the combo of C and Python. Okay, and this other that is known as Iron Python. That is a combo of .NET and Python. Right? So there are other version of Python as well. There are other Python, sorry, there are other version of Python as well. So if anyone asks you in an interview that, okay, you know about Python, but tell me, do you think that there are different version of Python as well? Yes, there is. And the version that we use is known as C Python. The version that we use is known as C Python. Okay, and this Jython, Cython, and Iron Python and whatnot, they are the advanced concept. Okay, as you move on and you learn about Python, it will be very clear for you where you use Jython, where you use Cython, and so on and so forth. I hope this is clear to all of you. Yes or no? Okay. Okay, is this clear, everyone? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Now, one more thing in Python that you need to understand, this is it is all the interview question that I'm telling you, right? If you are moving towards any kind of interviews, right, this will going to help you out a lot, right? There is a difference. There's two things. One is known as PEP, and one is known as PIP, right? Most of the time, people ask you what is the difference between PEP and PIP. Okay, in a very shorthand notation, what happen is whenever the version of Python releases, right? So the current version that is going on is Python 3.11, right? Python 3.11 that has released last month itself, right? So just like that, it has different version. If you remember yesterday, I was telling you the first version of Python that was released was 0.9.0.0.9.0, right? Then the next version was 1.0, right? Then it was 2.1, and so on and so forth, right? So when we talk about versions, right, when we talk about some versions and updates and all that, we talk about some of the different thing that has occurred. It might happen some feature might have updated, some new feature has been added, or some previous feature might have been deleted, right? So if you're adding some features or if you're modifying some features, you have to maintain a documentation. You have to maintain a documentation that this feature, what exactly this feature do, and why this feature has been developed, right? So PEP is the documentation. PEP is the documentation that provides the information to all the Python community or those people who work with Python. It describes the new feature for the Python versions. What are the new things that has been added to this new versions and all that? Is this clear? PEP is over here. It's a documentation that specify or that describe the new feature of the Python versions. Is this clear? Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay. And on the second hand, we have PIP. PIP is your Python package manager. With the help of PIP, whatsoever package or whatsoever libraries you want to install, you can easily install it. Right? If you remember yesterday, I was telling you that Python has, or day before yesterday, I was telling you Python has a huge community support and huge set of libraries. Right? Getting this, let's say I am having Python and I want something else, I want to install some external libraries, right? So how exactly I can install it? With the help of PIP. That's why PIP is known as a Python package manager. With the help of PIP, you can install any kind of packages, libraries, modules, or framework. Okay. And the syntax to install it, how exactly you have to install the package? You need to start with pip install, and then whatsoever your package name is, you can write over here. Let me write over here package name, right? Let's say if you want to install uh, let's say numpy, right? Let me do this in cap small letters. You want to install numpy, so you're going to write pip install numpy. You want to install Django, you will going to write pip install Django, right? So most of the time students get confused between pep and pip, right? Pip is your Python package manager through which you can install the different packages, right? And pep is the documentation that describes the new features for the Python versions. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Now, the next thing is that, okay, now I know what is Python, and okay, I know about Python. I know about what we can do with Python. But I want to start coding. I want to start coding with Python. So how can I start? Tell me that. So first of all, we need a space. We need a space where we can do the coding. It's just like that. Suppose you want to play football, right? But you need a ground to play it, right? I can tell you the rules that okay, you don't have to do this, you have to do this. But main thing is the curiosity is that okay, now we have to play. So in order to play it, you need a ground. Similarly, if you want to execute Python and you want to see the practical implementation of it, you need to have this space. This space are oftenly known as ideally is known as ideally IDE. Let me do this. Code editor. Code editor, right? So in market we have a lot of IDLE and code editor, right? So the best being are PyCharm, VS Code. So whenever you are working in a software, Okay, whenever you are working in a software, then these two are at the top, PyCharm and VS Code. PyCharm is quite heavy, right, and VS Code is quite light, and it is very good, right. Apart from that, you can use Sublime, you can use Python default ideally, right. You can use Atom, you can use Spider, or there are, apart from this, these are the editors, right, these are the code editors, right. Apart from that, you have notebooks, so you have Jupyter notebooks, and you have Google Colab. Google Colab is also a notebook, right. So the difference between these editors and notebooks is that these notebooks are on the cloud. Okay, these notebooks are on the cloud, right. Whereas all these softwares you have to install in your system. Okay, so the difference over here is that, let's say you are having a system that is not capable enough to run any kind of this software, right, but you need to perform, you need to work with Python, so and so on. So what you can do is, doesn't matter how old your system is or whether you have a system or not, if you, even though if you have a phone, a mobile phone, or any kind of Android devices or any kind of iOS devices, what you can do is you can use all these cloud. Okay, so that's why in this session as well, we are going to use the Google Colab. There are two reasons for that. First of all, we don't have to install anything, right, so we are not going to waste any time telling you that, okay, you have to install this and this is the way how you can install this. This is very clear cut. Secondly, it is available for everyone. It is available for everyone, so anyone can come up and they can start using Google Cloud without installing anything and without performing any kind of setting, right. Next thing is that why we are using Google Colab is that this is a service that Google provides. This is a service that Google provides, and Google provides approximately 12 GB of RAM itself, right. Even though if your laptop or your desktop doesn't have that, if let's say your laptop and desktop is having 4 GB of RAM, right, but you want to perform a lot of analysis, you want to perform, you want to make a huge model out of that, right, you cannot do that, you're running out of RAM. So in that case, you can come up and you can use the free service of Google Colab that provides 12 GB of RAM for you guys. It at absolutely free, it's absolutely free without paying a single penny. Okay, is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Till here, is this clear? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. Now we have to start with Python. So first of all, you have to install Python, right? The benefit of Google Colab is that since it is coming from Google, so Python is pre-installed, right? But let's say you want to work on your system, you want to install Python in your system. So how you can do that? You need to go to Google and you need to search for Python, right? This is a website for Python. If you click on this python.org, you can see the download over here, right? This website automatically detects your OS, right? And according to that, it gives you the suggestion for the download. You can see it is suggesting me for Mac OS, right? And the current version, the latest version that is going on is 3.11.0, right? And even though you can see the full list of downloads, that means earlier it was 3.10, right? Then we have 3.11 that came approximately in upcoming time, that is your October 24, right? And on the right hand side, if you clearly see, can you see this PEP? Can you guys see this PEP? Yes or no? Can you guys see this PEP? Can you see my cursor? PEP 664, PEP 619, and all that. Yes or no? Right? So let me click on this and let me show you what exactly is this. See this. This is a documentation. This is a documentation. PEP is the documentation about this feature, and all the features that has been mentioned over here will going to have some kind of PEP value. See this. PEP 654 is having the feature of exception group and accepts, right? Similarly, all this PEP is having a code, right? Based on that code, it will be very easy for you to check what exactly are the new features that has been provided, right? Coming back to the website, you can come up over here and you can easily download the Python from this website, and you can, it's a very simple process. You can hit next, and that's how you can install your Python already in your system, right? But now, since we are going to use our Google Colab, right? So in Google Colab, Python comes handy. So what you need to do is you need to come and you need to search Google Colab like this, right? you will be redirected to this link that is welcome to collaboratory. Click on this. Make sure that you are signed in with the help of a Gmail account. Okay, make sure you have a Gmail account and you are signed in with that, right? Now what you need to do, you need to click on this section that is known as new notebook, right? As soon as you will going to click on this, a notebook will be given to you. Okay, and over here these are known as cells. These are known as cells, and that's the beauty about notebooks, that over here you're not working in a single space. You can have multiple cells, right? And if you want to increase the number of cells, you can click on the left side. There's a option that is known as code. As soon as you're going to click on this, automatically a new cell will be created for you, right? And even though if can you see this RAM disk and all that, right? Let me hover on this. Now see, you can see the RAM that currently I am utilizing is 0.78 GB, right? And Google is providing me 12.68 GB of RAM at free of cost. Okay, it is providing me 12.68 GB of RAM at free of cost. And secondly, you can see it is connected to Python 3. It is already connected to Python 3, right? So that means Python is already installed. You can come up over here and you can start working on this. And again, it is not necessary that you have to use Google Colab only on desktop and laptop. You can also use that in your mobile devices as well. Till here, is this clear? Till here, is this clear? Yes or no? Till here, is this clear? Yes or no? Come on, fast. Okay, perfect. So let's check what is the version of Python that we are using. So we are going to check Python hyphen version. Let's run this. So you can see the Python that has been installed in the Google Colab server. It is of Python 3.15, right? So the latest is Python 3.11. If you want to work with 3.11, you can install it on your local and you can work on that, right? However, on Google Colab, the latest Python version is 3.7.15. So we are going to work with that. Okay. Now that you know what is the IDLE, what is how to install Python, and where exactly we are going to work on, what medium and what space we are going to work on. Now we are going to talk about the datas that we have. Now we are going to talk about the datas of Python, right? What are the data in Python and how data is important in Python? Is this clear? We can use f string. We can use f string in Python. Okay, perfect. Now, as I was telling you that in data science, data plays a very vital role, right? Data plays a very vital role, and we have to understand the data, right? If you can understand the data, you can easily work through, and you can grab the insight from the data itself, right? But before that, you need to understand the two differences. That is very, very important, and it has been asked in interview a lot of time. Okay, data versus information. Is data and information same? If I ask you, tell me, is data and information same? What do you think? What do you think? Is data and information same? Yes or no? Come on. Let's see who will going to answer this one. Okay, people are saying no. Okay, some people are saying yes. Okay, perfect. So now this is very, very important for you guys to understand that data and information is not same. They are poles apart. They're absolutely different, right? Let me explain this to you with the help of an example. Okay, are you guys ready for the example? Are you guys ready for the example? Come on. Okay, let's see this. Okay, we have a lot of questions, lot of answers. Okay, cool. Now understand this. Let's say I am having wood with me. I am having a lot of woods with me. Okay, let me write this over here. This is wood. I'm having a lot of wood with me, right? Based on that wood, I have created a table. Based on that wood, I have created a table over here, right? So I am having wood over here, the logs of wood, you can say, right? And on the second hand, I am having a table, right? Now, is this a wood? My first question to you, is this a wood? Come on. Is this a wood? Yes or no? Come on. Is this a wood? Yes or no? Come on, let's see. Okay, perfect. This is a wood, perfectly. Okay. My next question to you is this a table? Is this a table? This is my second question to you guys. Is this a table? Tell me. Okay. So this is a wood, but this is not a table. This is a wood, but this is not a table. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Let's let's ask the same question to you again. Is this a table? Is this a table? Yes or no? Is this a table? Yes or no? Come on. It's a table. Fantastic, right? And my last question to you guys is this a wood? Is this a wood? Is this table a wood? Come on. Is this table a wood? Exactly, guys, right? So over here we have seen that this is a wood, but this is not a table. However, this is a wood as well and a table at the same time. So this is your information. This is your information and this is your data. Information can be a data, but data can never be a information. Okay, information is a data, but data is not an information. Always remember this thing. This is a trick question that is been asked in interview. Okay, define what do you think is data and information same. Many times people say yeah, data and information are absolutely same. Of course not, right? You have a data at one end. Data is your input. Data is always your input and information is always your output that you get from that data. In between you have a lot of processes. That process is known as data analysis. Okay, is this clear? You have a process in between that is known as data analysis. Data analysis take the data in and gives the information out. Data analysis takes the data in and give the information out. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Okay, just a last example to show you the difference between data and information is, let's suppose, any Marvel fan over here? Any Marvel fan over here? Give me a cheer. Come on. Any Marvel fan? Any Marvel fan over here? Give me a cheer. Come on. Fast. Let's see. Okay. There are plenty of them. Okay. Okay. In the meantime, comment down your favorite Marvel character first. Iron Man. Hats off to you. Yeah. Wakanda. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Let's say uh there was a movie. Okay, there is a movie that is there's a currently movie and you went to watch that movie, right? And the duration of that particular movie was approximately 2 hours 30 minutes. Okay, it was approximately 2 hours 30 minutes. Okay, you went to a movie, you went to hall, you watched the entire movie for 2 hours 30 minutes. Now what happened is you came out from the movie hall and you got a friend and he asked you that, hey, where did you go? You replied him that I went to watch a movie and so on and so forth. So he was very curious to understand what exactly happened in that movie. Now he asked you to kindly explain me what exactly happened in that movie. Now tell me, the movie was of 2 hours and 30 minutes. Will going to take you 2 hours 30 minutes to explain him the movie as well? If the movie was 2 hours 30 minutes, will it also going to take you 2 hours 30 minutes to explain him that particular movie? Yes or no? Come on. Of course not. Of course not. Right? Hardly it will going to take you approximately 10 to 15 minutes to tell him about that particular movie. So now see, you will only going to tell him about the important stuff. You will only going to tell him about the important stuff. You will not going to say that, okay, there was a song and the song lyrics is so and so and so and so and forth. You will going to sing him for a song and so and so. You will not going to do that. right? You will not going to read him out about the credits that has been given and so on and so forth. You will only going to focus on those information that is very important from this data. So over here, this is the data, right? And generally we call this as a raw data. Generally we use the term as raw with the data, right? The reason being is that whenever we get a data, it's we assume that this data is the filthiest data. It is unclean data, unstructured data. It's the filthiest data. Lot of errors. It will be having a lot of errors as well, right? Now, data analysis is the process that we're going to take this raw data and try to convert it into the information. And you can see if this is your data, this will be your information. Are you guys getting my point? Are you guys getting my point? Yes or no? Okay. Are you guys getting my point? Yes or no? Okay, so that's the difference between the data and information. That's the difference between data and information, right? Now in data science we have to work with data, so let's understand how exactly Python works with data. How exactly Python works with data. Okay, so now let's come up to a practical implementation, right? Now let me add something. Let me say hello world. Now this is my data. Hello world is my data. Yes or no? Okay. This is my data, right? And what I want to do is I'm going to use a function in Python. Okay. I want to print this data in the terminal, in the console. Okay. I want to print this data into the console, right? So we have a function that is known as print function. Print. In Python, whenever you are working with Python, wherever you see a pattern, that means name of a function, name of the function, and as soon as you find out the braces, as soon as you find out this parenthesis, automatically make up your mind that this is a function. Okay, this is the hint, or this is the pattern that a function follows in Python. There will be the name of a function followed by the parenthesis, as soon as you are going to find out any kind of this pattern, make sure we are talking about a function, right? So over here, see, name of the function followed by the parenthesis, so that means this is a function, right? This is a print function that helps us to print whatsoever we are going to write inside this. It will going to directly print that into the terminal or into the cell. Okay, in different languages, if you go on, you can see it will going to take approximately 2 to 3 lines to write a print statement. Whether it will be a C language, C++ language, or Java language, right? In Java you have to write the entire format, system.out.println, if you want to print the line, or system.print, and then you have to write the line. But before that you have to import the buffer reader, you have to import the utility class and all that. But Python is very, very simple. Python says you want to print, we have a function that is known as print. Give us the data inside this parenthesis, and we are going to print whatsoever data you will going to provide over here. So let's say we are saying hello world. Okay, and as soon as I'm going to run this, now see the magic. Hello world is being printed. A message has been printed. Hello world. Can you see this? Okay, so over here, this is my data. This is my data over here. Okay, and one more thing that I was telling you, that there are a lot of versions of Python, right? And the Python version that we use is a C Python, right? If I want to show you, I'm going to import one package that is known as platform, right? And with the help of this platform, let me use the print function for that, and I'm going to use platform dot python underscore implementations. Okay, now see, C Python, that means it tells us the what exactly is the implementation of Python are you using. Are you using Jython, Cython, Iron Python, or C Python? So we are using C Python. This is just a demonstration to tell you that we generally use C Python. Okay, whatsoever Python version that you download, it's your C Python only. Is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay, give me a confirmation if this clear to all of you. Okay, perfect. Now this is the data. This is a data, right? So whatsoever data you are getting, it will going to print it out. Whatsoever data you are getting, you can easily process this out. But one more thing you need to understand is that there are different type of data. There are different types of data that we call as a data type, right? So let's understand what exactly is the data types and how you can classify the data into different types, right? In a very generic format is that if your data if your data, this data could be anything. It could be an alphabet, it could be a special character, it could be let's say an integer value. Integer value means numbers, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. They are the numbers. We call these values as an integer if they don't have any decimal point. If they have, we call this as a floating value, right? Now the first condition is if a data, whatsoever data is inside, either it is inside the single inverted comma, right? Or is it is inside the double inverted comma, or this data is inside the triple inverted commas. This is a triple inverted commas that is being created from the double inverted commas, and this is a triple inverted commas that is being developed with the single inverted commas. If you see the pattern like this anywhere, that means the data type of that particular data will be your string, right? And we denote it with the shorthand notation of str. Okay, wherever we write a data over here, you can see this is my data. Can you see a pattern over here? This is my data, but this data is inside the inverted commas and it is a double inverted commas, right? And according to the rule, if any data falls either under the single inverted commas, double inverted commas, triple inverted commas made with double inverted commas, or triple inverted commas made with single inverted commas, it is known as a string. Is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Kindly give me a confirmation, please. Okay. Now, this is about the string, right? Now, the next data type over here is your numerical data. Next data is your numerical data. Okay. Now, if your data is your numerical, there are two types. When I say numerical, I am talking about the numbers. Okay. When I am talking about numerical data, that means we are talking about the numbers, right? So there are two. Numerical data can be classified into two types. One is known as your integer. One is known as your integer, and the shorthand notation is int for integer, right? And another is your float. Another is your float, and shorthand notation for float is float only, right? Let me write this float, right? But how can we classify that whether a data or whether a numerical data is an integer or is a float? Very generic, right? If your integer value is having a decimal point, it will be a floating value, right? If your numerical data is not having a decimal point, it is your integer. Very simple. Having a decimal point, then you will going to classify it under float, right? Not having a decimal point, not having a decimal point, you will going to classify this under integer, right? Let's say if I ask you, what do you think is 8? It's a numerical data, perfect, but is it an integer or float? Is it an integer or float? 8 is an integer data or float? Obviously it's an integer, guys, right? It's an integer because you can see that it doesn't have any kind of decimal point, right? Now if I say 8.98, 8.98, is it an integer or is it a float? 8.98, is it an integer or a float? Come on, it's a float because it has a decimal point, right? How about now? 8.0, 8.0, come on, is it a decimal, is it a integer or is it a float? It is still a float. Exactly, it is still a float because doesn't matter we have 8.0, but since we have a decimal point, that means this data, this numerical data will be classified under the floating. Okay, it is a floating value. And there is one other another type of this numerical data that is known as complex. That is known as complex, right? You must have heard about complex number. You have worked with complex number, guys, during your 11th and 12th. If you remember, things like 2 plus 5 iota. Heard about this? 2 plus 5 iota, 6 plus 8 iota. These are known as a complex number, if you remember. Yes or no? Right? So this is a pattern of a complex number. So obviously complex number is absolutely different from float and integer. So we can easily rectify that, right? Only confusion comes up when we talk about the integer and float. And that is also clear because if it is having a decimal point, then it is a float. If it doesn't have a decimal point, then it's an integer. And it follows this pattern where you are having this iota, right? Then it's a complex number. I hope this is clear. I hope till here this is clear. Yes or no? Kindly give me a confirmation, please. Okay. If you go on and check different programming languages, you will going to find out several other data types, such as char. You will going to find out. You will going to find out char. You will going to find out long. You will going to find out double. Right. If you go to C, if you go to Java and all that, you will going to find out these kind of data types as well. Right. But the concept of Python is that we are going to make a very easy form, a human understandable form, so that they will not going to confuse, right? So they are saying, according to Python, char has been already included in integer or in string. Double is already included in your floating value. The concept of double was that after decimal point, if you have two values, then the data type will be double. If you have more than two values and less than 8, it will be float. That's the concept, right? But in Python, we have removed that concept. We have said that if you have a decimal point, then it will be float, right? If you don't have a decimal point, it will be integer. Simple as that. Very simple, very clear, very straightforward. Okay. And the last data type that we have is very, very useful, although most of the people find it difficult to understand that, but it is very, very useful, right? Many a time it is useful, known as Boolean. Okay. Boolean. If you heard of, if you have ever heard about Boolean algebra, right? So Boolean contains two values. It could either be a true or it could be false. That's it, right? Boolean is generally used in the conditional statements. Whenever you are making condition that we are going to talk about later, whenever we're going to talk about that, we are going to see we oftenly use Boolean. So if true and false is the Boolean data type. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay. So now if I ask you print 78, right? What exactly is this 78? Can anyone tell me? Is 70, what is the data type of the 78? The data type of 78? Integer, right? Similarly, we have a function just like the function print, right? We have a print functionality with the print function. We have one more function that is known as type. The functionality of this type function is that it will going to tell you the data type of the data. Okay. Type function will going to tell you the data type of the data. So over here my data is 78, right? So if I want to ask that what exactly is the data type of the 78, if I'm going to run this now, see, it says that it is an integer. Okay. How about now? What do you think will be the output? Will it be integer or not? Tell me. What do you think will be the output? Will it be an integer or not? Okay, perfect. It will be float. Exactly. See, it will be float, right? I know you must be getting confused between 78 versus 78.0, right? They both are absolutely different, guys. They both are absolutely different, right? This is your integer and this is your floating value, right? How about now, integer or float? Come on, let's see who will going to answer this correctly. Integer or float? String, exactly. Wonderful, guys. Wonderful. This is string. This is string. We know that this data is our float, right? However, according to the rule of data type, If any form of data, it could be a string, it could be an integer, it could be a boolean data type, it could be a complex, it could be a floating data type. If it is inside this inverted commas, then it will be considered as a string. Okay, I know that this is a float, but since this data is inside the inverted commas, we have to consider this data as a string. Okay, don't get yourself confused. Most of the time people says that string are those data that are textual data. No, of course not. You can see this is not a textual data that you are having, right? So if I'm going to run this now, see, this is str. That's a shorthand notation of a string. I hope this is clear to everyone. I hope this is clear to everyone. Yes or no? Come on, fast. Okay, wonderful. People are getting this, right? Awesome. Cool. Nice. Okay. Now, before we go on, let me tell you a difference that this is known as a square bracket. Okay. This is known as a square bracket. Okay. This is known as the curly bracket. This is known as the curly bracket, or you can also call this as curly braces. Curly braces. Okay. And this is known as your round bracket. Round bracket, or you can also call this as parenthesis. The reason being I'm telling you, parenthesis. The reason being I'm telling you about this because in the upcoming time, tomorrow, what lecture we are going to talk about is the data structures of Python. You will going to see that these bracket makes a huge difference. This bracket makes a huge difference. So you need to understand that if you already know, that's well and good, right? If you don't know, make sure that you know that this is known as the square bracket. This is known as the curly braces or curly bracket, and this is known as the round bracket, or you can call this as a parenthesis. This brackets will going to play a very vital role in the upcoming time. Okay, till here is this clear? Till here is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Come on. Till here is this clear? Yes or no? Awesome. So now we know that we have a data. But now the one issue is that let's suppose I'm having a data. I'm having a data with myself, and let's say my data is hello world. Hello world, right? This is my data, and I want to print this data. So what we can do is simply we can write print hello world, and it will automatically going to get print, right? But now the thing is that let's suppose this is my data, and after writing 500 lines of code, I again want this data. I again want this exactly same data. So now what happened is that I have to again copy this from here, then again I have to come up after 500 lines of code, and then I have to again paste it. Let's suppose after 800 lines of code, I again want to reuse this code. Again, I have to do so, right? Okay, so now the problem over here is that the code is repeating. The code is repeating multiple times, the same code. If it has already been written once, why am I repeating it again and again, right? But if I have to use it, I have to repeat it again, right? So to tackle this problem and to provide a solution to this problem, we have come with the solution as variables. We have came with a solution called as variables. Now what exactly is this variables? I'm not getting this. So in a very layman term, what exactly is this variable? Variable is a bucket. You can call this, either you can call this as a bucket, okay, or you can call this as a container, right? Okay, perfectly fine. Variable is a bucket and variable is a container. But how exactly it is useful? I'm still not getting this. So let me explain you this. Let's say uh, you are at your home. Let's say you are at your home at a place. Let me do this, right? And you're planning to, let's say you are in New Delhi. Okay, for an example, everyone know about New Delhi, right? You're in New Delhi and you're planning a trip to Goa. Okay, obviously Goa trip is just a fantasy. That's why we are taking it. Okay, so we are at New Delhi and we are planning a trip for Goa. So what now we have to pack everything, right? We have to pack our clothes, we have to pack a lot of stuffs and all that, right? So what we have done is we have packed some kind of, let's say, shirts. We have taken some shirts, we have taken some pants with us, right? We have taken some socks with us, we have taken some of our shoes with us, right? Apparently we have taken some kind of accessories, or it might be mobile accessories, it might be laptop accessory, and so on and so forth, right? So we have all these items that you have to take from New Delhi to Goa. Now in the first case, if I ask you that you have to carry all this item by yourself, that means on one hand you might be having, you might be, putting up your pants, then socks, and next hand you might be putting up your, all this accessories and all that, and you have to commute from one place to another by putting everything in your hand. So don't you think it will be uncomfortable and it will be very hectic for you guys to do so? Yes or no? Don't you think it will be very uncomfortable and hectic for you guys to do so? Yes or no? Obviously, right? So what exactly is the solution? The solution is, why don't you take a suitcase, or why don't you take a trolley bag or a travel bag, and in this travel bag put all the items. So what will going to happen is that instead of taking five items from one place to another, you can easily take a single item from one place to another, and it is an assurance that if your trolley is moving from one place to another, automatically all the items as well that is inside this trolley is moving from one place to another. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Okay, we are only moving our travel bag from one place to another, but at the same time it is 100% sure that the item inside the bag is also moving from one place to another, right? This is the concept of variables. This is the concept of variable says that all these accessories over here, these are the datas, right? So instead of taking the data from one place to another, it is so hectic to call it every time. So what we do is we pack the data inside a variable or inside a container. So now what happens is, doesn't matter how big our data is, how complicated our data is, we only have to call our variable and automatically the data will be available to you. Okay, let's say, let me give you one more example. Let's suppose I'm having a text with me. Okay, let's say, go over here, let's go back, and let's click on this. Okay, now let's say this is a text, and this is the entire data that I'm having, right? Where is it? Let me go back. Okay, so let me copy this and paste it over here. Okay, since it's a data for me, really, is this clear? Right, so let me write this. uh, Copy and paste. Now see, this is a huge data. This is a huge data, right? We have taken an example. Data can be a humongous as well, right? This is a huge data. After a certain time, if I want to repeat this data again, I have to copy this entire line and then I have to paste it. Yes or no? Yes or no? So what I do is, instead of doing this over and over again, I'm going to put this in a variable or in a container. And the next time, instead of calling the data, I'm going to call the variable. I'm going to call the variable. Okay, and when we are going to call the variable, automatically the data that has been stored in the variable will automatically going to call. And the syntax for this is, you need to define the variable name first, variable underscore name, then you have to use this sign, right? And let me tell you that this is not an equal to sign in Python. This is not an equal to sign in Python. This is known as an assignment operator. This is known as an assignment operator, right? And then your data or whatsoever value you want to assign in the variable name. So the next time, if you would want to reuse this value, instead of calling the value, you will going to call the variable name, and automatically the data that has been stored in this variable will be presented to you. Okay, and the next very interesting thing about Python variable is that you don't have to define that what kind of data type what kind of type of the data you will going to put in this variable name. If you go to Java, if you go to C and C++, they say that first specify that what kind of data you will going to put in this variable, right? If you have learned about C and if you learn about Java and different other programming language, the syntax usually goes like, first you have to define the data type of the variable, and then you have to define the variable. It means that only integer kind of data will be stored in this variable, right? But this is not the case in Python. Python says that I'm not going to do any kind of partiality. Okay, so what I can do is define the variable name, and doesn't matter what type of that particular data is, I am ready to accept it, right? Either it could be an integer, it could be a floating value, it could be a string, it could be a complex number, it could be a boolean. I am going to accept it. You don't need to define it. That's the beauty of Python, that you don't have to multiple times, you don't have to define it. Okay, and that's why it might happen that if at the first step you're storing a string in this variable, it might happen that after that you change your mind and you say that no, from now I have to store the integer into this variable. So this switching is very easy for you guys, right? So let's say this is my data, and I want to assign this into a variable, right? So I'm going to say variable name, it could be anything. Assignment operator, remember this is not equal to, this is assignment operator. Okay, let me write this over here for you guys. This is assignment operator, assignment operator, and this is what we call as equal to in Python. This is what we call as equal to in Python. So equal to, okay, this is assignment, this is your equal to, and this is also been asked in interview a lot of time to trick students. Most of the time students says that this is an equal to, but this is not. This is assignment operator. It means that you are assigning a particular value to a particular variable. Okay, so now we have assigned the value of the data to a variable where, and now whenever we want to use it, whenever we say that I want this data, I'm simply going to write print the variable name, that is where, and I'm going to run this. See this. See this. Okay. All the data that was stored under this variable is now being presented. Is now being presented. Yes, exactly. This is also, if you are talking about the operator, this is also known as a comparison operator. That means, is A equal to B? If you want to compare A and B, that means A equal to B. That's why we call this as an equal to, or you can call this as a comparison operator as well. Yes, comparison operator, right? Okay, so now this is your data and this is your variable, right? So with the help of variable, you can store data under this container or bucket, and after that, whenever you want to reuse it, you can easily go and you can use this. Till here, is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Is this clear, guys? Yes or no? Perfect. So that's all for today. We are going to stop here for today. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to talk about the data structures. Okay. So we are going to see what are the flaws in variables. Today we have understood we have made variable as a superhero, right? That okay, variable is a superhero and he will going to, it will going to save us from all this repetition of code. But tomorrow we're going to understand that how what are the cons that we have in variables. To rescue that, we have another superhero that is known as data structures. When I say data structures, I'm not talking about the DSA, I'm talking about the Python data structures. Okay, so Python has a different set of data structures that we are going to talk today. Oh, sorry, that we are going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, I hope the lecture is clear to all of you, and you guys do have got an idea how to work with Python, what are the data, what are the data types, and what are the variables, right? So that's all for today. Thank you guys for joining in. So let me show you the attendance link, the moment you must be waiting for. So here you go with the attendance. Okay. Perfect. So the attendance link has already been shared to you guys, right? And let me share it again. And if someone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, here you go with my LinkedIn profile. idea as well. Okay, so now it's time for question if you have any, right? If you don't have, you can go on and you can enjoy your weekend as well, right? Any doubt, anyone? Any doubt, anyone? Let me check this. Yeah, now try to do so. Let me share it again. Now try it. Guys, don't create a fuss. Don't create a fuss. Okay, if it is closed, wait for a second, let it open, and it will be open, right? Don't create a fuss for attendance, that no attendance, we want attendance and all that. Okay, I'm I'm telling you frankly that this certificate will not going to add any kind of value to your resume or your skills unless and until you can justify your skills, right? Even though you have a certification from Google that states that you know Python, but if someone asks you in an interview what Python and you don't know about that, that certification is absolutely waste. So it's a request, guys. Please don't move toward the certificate. Doesn't matter what kind of company it is providing to you. Don't run towards certificates, run towards the knowledge, because in the end your knowledge will going to help you out in getting the jobs and all that, not your certificates. Okay, that's a tip for you guys. Okay, perfect. I hope no questions today, right? So yeah, you guys can enjoy a night, right? Let's meet tomorrow. Any doubt, anyone? Link is not closed, link is open. Try it once again, please. Is this clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, anyone? What is the full form of PEP? Full form of PEP is Python Enhancement Proposals. Okay, Python Enhancement Proposal. Okay, so this is the last time I'm sharing you the attendance link, and here you go with my LinkedIn as well. If you guys have any doubt, kindly ask, please. Okay, so I think we can wrap this up for today. If you don't have any such question, you guys can go and you guys can enjoy it. Okay. Full form of PIP is Preferred Installer Program. Okay, Preferred Installer Program. Okay. See, this is also something that you need to understand. In Python, we don't have any concept of multi-line comment. We don't have any concept of multi-line comment. We only have single-line comment in Python. Okay. Already told you the full form of PIP is Preferred Installer Program. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your evening. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Till then, have a great time. Be safe and good night. Take care. Bye bye.